everybody, and welcome to a podcast. It's called Corn Corner Podcast. My name is Ren.
My name is Cam, and did you know that Stephen King's birthday was on September 22nd?
Nope, and that was 2 days ago at the time of filming. But what I do know about September 2nd is it is right around the time of fall. So people, if you're listening to this chronologically and it is fall in your area, get out that Jack Skellington picture and hang it up this year and do your little dance for him, because I'll tell you what, this time of year only comes around once a year, really, and it's one of the most favorite times of the year for a lot of folks.
Yeah. I would say it's my favorite season.
Don't you think that many people that listen to Corn Corner enjoy fall?
I would say a vast majority of the people that listen to Corn Corner are fall people, because there's a huge correlation, I feel, between indoor kids and fall enjoyers.
You think that most of the people that listen to the Corn Corner podcast are indoor kids?
Yeah.
You think that they don't love to ride mountain bike a little bit sometimes?
I think that we can all have outdoor hobbies and still qualify as indoor kids.
Let me ask you something, and I'm not going to sugarcoat this. It sounds like you're calling the Corn Corner fans nerds, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do know what you're talking about, and I do think that, there's a certain demographic that makes up the majority of listeners.
There is a football team called Tennessee Titans. They used to be called Tennessee Oilers in the 1980s, potentially. And they probably maybe are listening to a Corn Corner podcast before a game to get riled up. You ever think about that?
The Tennessee Titans are listening to Corn Corner before a game.
We're the Tennessee Oilers, now the Titans. Potentially could be listening to this before a game to get riled up.
Now, why do you think they changed the name from the Oilers to the... Because most of the name change things that have happened in big American sports things are because the names were downright racist. Yeah. And some of them haven't changed. But Oilers is because of oil drilling, I would assume.
Yeah, but, I mean, come on. I'm not saying it's racist, but it's got to be a little bit. I don't know a lot about oil drilling, but...
I'm sure it's not like the most, friendly job. It's akin to something. I don't know. Let's not go down this. Anyway, today we're talking about Stephen King.
We're going to be talking about Stephen King. And when you think about Stephen King and you think about the NFL, the Tennessee Titans, and that sort of fall style activities, you really think about him enjoying this holiday, don't you?
Holiday? You mean the fall as a holiday in general?
It kind of is a holiday.
Also, I think he's a baseball guy more than a football guy.
It's not a holiday in that you get presents on fall like you would on something like Christmas or birthday or Mardi Gras Day. But it is a holiday in the sense of it's a special time.
Yeah.
You ever think about that?
The most wonderful time of the year, I feel.
You love it. Are you going to be decorating this year?
I don't know if there's a point, because we don't really have neighbors where we live. But if we move somewhere else, yes. I'll probably, the thing about it is, well, I'm not that person anymore that has, the person that goes to Michael's during Halloween time or whatever and gets a bunch of like the Halloween decor stuff, but then that's just like their normal decor. Like that's just year round.
Oh, yeah.
I used to be that person, and then I stopped because of the dust.
That's a Corn Corner fan for you.
Yeah, but I do feel that my normal decor is a fall situation overall. We keep it pretty dim and spooky in general, so I don't really need to change much.
It's too dark in your house. I'll be honest. You can't see anything. You can't see where you're going. You have to turn a flashlight on your phone on half the time. Then you put in your pocket and you got a flashlight popping out of your jean. And then you look like an idiot. But you did say something I want to comment on and bring up mainly, is that you said you don't have neighbors, so you're not going to decorate. And isn't the real decoration for you? Isn't it for you?
I think the outdoor decoration is more for status symbol. Indoors, definitely for you. But to decorate the outside of your house is to show, that you want to be seen a certain way by the people going by your house.
And one of the things about you is your outside decorations really do establish dominance.
Yeah, it's true. We hit real bones and stuff outside.
I know. And when it's I think that when you get a kid, not you, anybody, when someone has a child, they want to keep Christmas going for them. And that's a pretty cool way to keep things going.
Long? I don't like
that.
No,
just get the decorations up. They want to just get the things up.
Well, that's
you want to get your Arbor Day stuff up because of them.
Arbor Day. We may be moving to a more residentially area, and then I would definitely go way more into decorating and doing cool stuff, especially for Halloween, because I'd want to be that house. I don't know what your trick-or-treating situation was, but some of the houses where I lived did like the haunted houses in like the garage, I would want to do that.
I never did. I don't like haunted houses. Too scary. Doesn't make any sense. But I did see them. I'm aware of it. There's one at the fireman's house that I almost went into, but I didn't.
I feel like that'd be such a silly one. Like, that has to be pretty lame.
At the end of the day, a ghost is a ghost. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And because the Ghostbusters headquarters was actually in a fire hall, it kind of all lines up there, so...
Well, speaking of Ghostbusters, let's get right into it. Stephen King, known as an author, known as somebody that people have made films of, known as somebody who makes... I mean, those books are big. That's a thick book.
Yeah. There are some very big ones, yeah.
You think a lot of people are reading all those words? Or are they just kind of getting the gist of it?
I think that a lot of people do audiobook for his stuff, and especially some of the bigger ones, which is how I did it and The Stand, which are two of like the biggest ones, like the over 1,000-page ones.
The Stand is over 1,000 page?
Yeah. Like, I think it's like... Because there's a cut version, like there's like a shortened version, but the original was like, I don't know, 1,300 to 1,500 words or something, and then the actual edited down one is like 800 some pages, rather, not words, which is crazy still, but
you don't need that many words.
It's a big... Have you ever read... You haven't read Stephen King. Have you ever watched a Stephen King thing?
Name a couple of Stephen King things.
I don't like... It's a whole dispute, but the most common one that people have seen is The Shining.
7. The
movie.
Shining.
Yeah.
He wrote that?
Yeah, but it's not... I don't like the Stanley Kubrick movie. It's not like the book.
What are you talking about? You don't like the Shining movie?
I don't. I think if you look at it as completely separate from the book, it's a decent movie, but if you compare it to the book, it's awful. I like the iconography of the floor.
They got the maze in the book and stuff?
No, so in the book it's topiaries, like big
like dinosaurs.
You know in Edward Scissorhands how he makes the animals out of bushes?
Oh, trust me, I know.
Yeah, so it's those. It's like a bunch of those, and they attack them. There is no maze.
And they're all these, what did you say, tapestries?
Topiary.
These things there's just a bunch of penguins side by side so you can't get through. Because I think to myself, if there was a bunch of animals in a bush, I would just walk through them and get out of the maze.
There's no maze, period, in the book. It's just like a garden of the animals, and like, there's a lion one that attacks when things are starting to go down.
How so? There's a big supernatural element to this.
Yeah, that's all. I was literally talking to Brad about this today. A thing I like about Stephen King so much is that his books, outside of like the Dark Tower and stuff, aren't like high fantasy. It's like 80% real stuff and then 20% supernatural horror, whatever stuff mixed in. But it's very like rooted in the real world.
Because the thing about the Shining movie is that everything could be in his head. He goes crazy.
Well, yes.
But it sounds
it's the hotel
like
making him crazy.
Yeah, sure, but that's still what is the word I'm looking for? Not omnipotent, which is actually one of the bigger words. It's where it's not, you can't, it's a lot like a ghost, but more like
Insidious.
Well, that thing that just means mean, right? Insidious just means mean.
But it means
It's
like
also a movie.
Subversive, like it's like under sneaky, you know.
Subversive is a good one. Maybe it's
Thank you so much.
kind of like that, where the threat isn't, you can't see it. It's not a lion bush that comes to life.
Well, that's kind of like the whole a lot of Stephen King things in general, but the more importantly, the Shining book isn't just about like a family going to a hotel so the dad can be the shittiest hotel caretaker and make his wife do all the work while he tries to write a novel and struggles with being kind of a dickhead. It's like the book is that he's struggling with being an alcoholic and that he has caused a lot of bad things to happen in his own life because of his like anger and his alcoholism and things like that. And then he takes this job to go work on his novel, but also try to like get right and face his addiction and his demons and stuff like that. And that's not in a fucking movie. Yeah.
All right.
So
you
the
look
real
like someone,
bad guy is alcoholism. Just
there you
saying.
go. You look like someone that's trying to get right now. In that hoodie.
I look like a Unabomber right now.
You do have a certain vibe to you. And there's nothing wrong with that. People, the vibe specifically that you have right now. Okay, do you think that the original Shining book would make as good of a movie as the one that we all saw on maybe VHS or DVD or whatever, maybe streaming?
Yes. But also, yes, and they tried to do it, and it's a miniseries starring Steven Weber as Jack Torrance.
Oh, what's it called? The Gift
The
or
Shining.
something?
No, it's just The Shining.
People like that thing, right?
I mean, no, it wasn't well received. It was very cheesy and like bad effects wise and stuff. But it is more true to the book, and it would be cool if they redid it. But I think we're too far down to do a Shining movie now, like because Doctor Sleep the movie made up for what the Shining movie fucked up with. And I've talked about this before on here. I'm certain of it, but
I'm sure you
a lot
have.
of thoughts.
But
yep.
Okay, so now, do you think, because we look at Star Wars, a movie happening in space, spaceship, the whole thing, and then you look at a movie like The Shining, came out around the same time, maybe?
I don't
Right?
know. Sure. I forget what year The Shining came out. Late 70s, early 80s. That sounds right?
So, we look at Star Wars movie and we say, wow, some pieces of that are cheesy, but we like it. We romanticize the practical effects and the miniatures, lightsaber, boo, boo, boo. We romance a lot of it, but it's kind of a cheesy movie. But we look at The Shining, I don't think we say that that's too cheesy. It's a pretty iconic movie.
I'm saying the miniseries is cheesy. The movie itself, I don't feel is cheesy. Okay.
I know. I have this other thought that my thought is that I think that the reason why The Shining movie is so good and still iconic is because it didn't try to step over its boundaries at the time. Star Wars is it's space. It's gonna be a little cheesy. It's gonna be a little kooky. But this is just people, interpersonal issues, the acts. There's no special effects. So I think if they would have tried to ever do the lion coming to life, it would have always been a little goofy.
Yeah, I think that's a thing with a lot of Stephen King stuff, is that it's not easily adapted to screen because it does end up looking like it happened with It. And at the end of It, it becomes like a weird spider, like cosmic spider creature monster thing. That's like, in the book, when you're reading it, you're like, this all makes sense in this world, and this thing sounds awful and whatever. But then when they try to make it on screen, it's like, this is dumb. That is like a puppet, and it does not work.
It is pretty crazy when you think about it, because as an author, all you really have are words. And you can quote me saying that. As an author, all you really have are words. It's a brilliant, honestly, a brilliant statement.
Profound.
Substack.com.renwords. Anyway.
Substack.com.renwords or /renwords?
I'm not quite sure. But I will say that whomever designed that look of the It clown kind of had a pretty big impact on the It book that Stephen made, because I've never read the book, nor will I ever. But I know of it because I know of that clown. Pennywise the clown, that's his name, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Great name, but crazy. Crazy when you think about it.
The Tim Curry It is not like it was described by, like, in the book. It's the one that's in the movies is more accurate to what Stephen King describes in the books. But the Tim Curry It, I think, is what most people, well, maybe not anymore, depending on the age group. But you probably think of the Tim Curry one, I would assume.
Well, I mean, being young and hip, I definitely think about the new movie that came out.
Yeah, you're just thinking of Bill Skarsgård. It's fair.
Yeah. I don't even wear SPF. What's the point?
Yeah.
They
all break me out, so I don't either. Yeah, totally.
No, I think
of,
about that old one. I don't even know what the new one is. I'm not going to see it ever. It's too scary. You don't need to see that kind of stuff. I've seen ghosts before. Not in real life. They're
you really
not real.
shouldn't. There's no ghosts in it, first of all. But also, this is tangential, and then we could go back to Stephen King. But me and Brian, on this Maine trip that we haven't even mentioned during this thing, the whole reason we're talking about Stephen King is because I went to Maine with my partner, and we did a little Stephen King sightseeing thing. Anyway, one of the nights we watched the new The Crow movie that Bill Skarsgård is in. Bill Skarsgård, who plays Pennywise in the new It movies. And good God, it was so bad. It was obscene. I just have to say that real quick.
Wow.
You don't care because you've never seen the original The Crow, although you should, because it's really good and it's a cult classic, and Brandon Lee is amazing, and he died for that movie. But the new one is just like, FK Twigs doesn't need to act. I love her music, on like most of it, but like she would do this thing being like, what do you think about that? Like with her little voice being like,
what do you think about that?
Yeah. it was very I think she's British. I swear she has an accent. She's not.
You're doing an Italian accent?
No, I was trying to do British, but it didn't really work out because I got embarrassed like as soon as I said "fink."
Oi.
In it.
In it.
Oi, mister. Anyway, terrible.
Did you see a little while ago when I was getting obsessed with that one English guy that does the never pour when you look at the gravy thing?
What is the spice bag?
Oh
thing?
God, that's
what
a
are they
different
called?
thing I'm obsessed with.
Okay.
Spice bag.
Yeah.
Right, spice bag.
They look good.
They look so good, so bad. I just like the term spice bag. and we're getting away from Stephen King. And I want everyone to keep that in your mind. If you're driving, pull over. Just keep that in your mind. But I just love when they say spice bag. A proper spice bag. Proper.
It does make me want to eat it. It looks like shit, but yeah.
God. I wish I could use
the use
that
of
word
curry
more.
sauce just on shit. Just anywhere.
I know. Anyway, back to the real meat. Back to the real spice bag of it all. See what I'm doing?
Well done.
We weave in and out. Anyway, I'm trying to think about more Stephen King. Now, my mom read a book, and I think I've told the story one time in this podcast, but I thought it would be, maybe it was Stephen King or John Grisham or one of those.
Very different, but yes.
I thought it was funny to move her bookmarker, and I thought I'd really get her. But then she said, she was like, I know where I'm at in the book. And it blew my mind.
Yeah. That's so
to me,
funny. Like, it's such a funny gotcha. Like, as if someone would open the book and start reading and be like, I just don't remember this, but sure. Like, and like, so what the prank is that you fuck up their reading?
Yeah. I was always looking for a little. Yep. What can I say?
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. So The Crow is a movie that Stephen King wrote the book of, and then they made it into a movie.
King. It has nothing to do with Stephen King. It's a comic book
The Crow
by
doesn't.
Jim Barr. Yeah.
Why did we bring it up?
Stephen King is not. I just was because Bill Skarsgård. It was tangential, and I have ADD, so I jumped all over the place. But more importantly, Stephen King is from Maine. Bangor. I don't know how to pronounce it. Maine.
Banger.
And it's not like Boston. They say yup instead of yep, things like that. But he bases like the majority of his books in Maine, and Derry, which is where a lot of stuff takes place, is fictional, but it's based on Bangor. What is happening? You're like, so what? Go say what?
No, it's not. No. Go on.
Is it because I look like I'm planning to send pipe bombs to government establishments right now in this outfit?
No. It's so funny you say that because I think you always kind of look like that.
This is actually an early Halloween costume, my Ted Kaczynski, and I'm not. When I say I'm moving, I don't mean that I'm like actually moving myself. I'm moving my entire home, in that the government is going to take it and move my entire cabin to airport landing facility.
That's right.
Anyway, so the cool thing is about Stephen King in Maine is that you can go to a lot of places that he mentions in books or movies have shot around there. So you can go to the places that are in the movies. So that is what our entire trip was based around, was going to like the literal spot where they shot various things or that he was inspired by. But most of it was Pet Sematary. Like all of Pet Sematary basically was shot there. So we just spent like days and hours driving all around this area to get to like the Pet Sematary spots to get out and like take a picture and be like, nice.
That's so cool. I really like Pet
fun.
Sematary. It was scary to me. Scary to everybody now, but
I didn't know that you've seen it because before it seemed like you'd only seen The Shining or something.
I didn't. Well, I can't remember. I think I've seen it. I don't remember if I've seen it. And also, at that point in time, I didn't even remember that Pet Sematary existed.
Yeah, it's fair.
But, so you drove around. You saw different things. What was the most niche thing that you saw? You think was there like a street stop sign or something? Or
I think it's probably not niche, but like the weirdest one that we went to, or not weirdest, but like one that I don't think a lot of people probably go to, is where they had the actual like Pet Sematary burial ground, which was out in like kind of the middle of nowhere, and it is a blueberry field, or like used to be a blueberry field. So we like hiked a mile off the road where we parked through like this like rocky ass area up to like kind of a flat whatever where they strategically put a bunch of rock piles to make like the burial ground that they use in the movie. And I don't think that's a destination a lot of people are necessarily going to, because it doesn't look, I mean, it looks the same, but they built a bunch of like rock mounds and spirally things and shit like that aren't there. Like, so it's kind of just like this flat area that you're like, yep.
Did you get blueberry?
No, that's I feel like it wasn't blueberry season also, but I didn't realize that Maine blueberries were such a thing, and I did not have any blueberry things while I was there.
That's surprising because it doesn't take a lot for you to buy a pastry.
Well, there weren't a lot of vegan options, I have to say.
That was my next question.
We stopped in Portland, Maine, not Portland, Oregon, obviously. And there were options there, and it was good. And also went to this really cool store called Strange Maine, where I got a bunch of VHS tapes. But once in Bangor and Bucksport and stuff, and even we went to Bar Harbor to go to like Acadia, which was really pretty. But they're like not a lot of like they'd be like one vegan option. It's like a hummus sandwich, and you're like sick. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I feel like you kind of like that because it takes away all the decisions.
Yeah, I mean, if there's one option, I'm like sick, then that's what I'm getting. Also, it just saves money to grocery shop and make stuff at the Airbnb instead.
Yep. In Portland, Maine, I've always wanted to go because my favorite brewery is there.
Oh, Allagash?
Yeah.
Yeah. I when I was reading about stuff to do, that was one of the like suggestions to like go eat somewhere right next to it and then go there or something like that.
I have like a weird fandom with Allagash in a weird way. Like I don't even really like, I don't love beer. I don't know why. I just really enjoyed Allagash. And I remember when I was first started drinking, I would try every Allagash I could. I mean, still, Allagash Black is like absolutely incredible. Allagash White's great, but Curio, Triple, all these different ones. I don't remember other ones I've had, but
is it because you like their branding or like?
I like. There's this like feel that their beers have. I think that they all feel kind of like. It's gonna sound like a joke, but it's not. They all feel like they're very like high, like skinny and high, and like lift. They all like lift versus like they're not heavy and like low and thuddy.
Okay,
they feel
I
like.
Understand.
If I have, they all feel like they're kind of complex, but not in a pretentious, annoying way. Like I feel like I can like see the like colors that they are in a way, the different like flavors of the different ones.
Beer synesthesia, is that what's happening?
I wish I had synesthesia.
I don't. It sounds confusing.
Emma
well, maybe sometime when you come. Really cool. That's when someone else does. I'm like, neat. Gonna have to go into various rooms with Emma and be like, hey, how's this room taste to you?
Yeah.
What color does this room taste like? When you come out to visit upstate New York, it's not it's an easy drive to like Maine from here.
How long is it?
Pop over there. To Portland was like 3.5 hours maybe or something.
That's good.
Yeah. And I mean, if you take the highway, it's just like straight shot on I-90 or whatever. You know what that is, obviously. I'm talking about local roads, and you can relate.
Yeah, well, there's I-90 in Louisiana. This conversation is really on the highway of getting away from Stephen King. So let's pop it on back, and we're going to take a U-turn, everybody. And we're going to bring it back to Stephen King. Do you think that Maine is really happy that Stephen King decided to add so many Maine things into the books?
that's the thing about it is that like I feel like a lot of places where there's like iconic, like if you go to the Timberline Lodge in Mount Hood, Oregon, which is where they shot a lot of the Shining stuff. There's like placards and little displays of being like the Shining to, that was like fucking 40 years ago or something, but they still have like things being like, this is a touristy destination and we realize that people are coming here for this and not just because whatever. But there was like none of that in around Bangor or like any of those places, which was, I felt like was weird because it seemed like a missed opportunity to like increase tourism revenue to your town and have your town be like pumped up by that stuff.
Yeah.
Like the only place that we went in the public library there, which was like cool because I like libraries. And it was a very nice library, and the people working there were very nice also. But they had like a Stephen King display out front. Yeah, support your local public library.
We've got a corn dog who's a librarian. Shout out to all the librarians out there.
Yeah, truly doing whatever God's work, because good God, that was like a thing. They had really cool editions of Stephen King books there, but you can't rent library books if you're not a state resident, which makes sense, obviously, because they want the books to come back to them. And there were like prices in the back of the books, so we were like, hey, does this mean they're for sale if we want to buy them? And they were like, no, that's just how much it would, like, you'd be charged if you took it out and didn't return it. So like we were both like, what if we just like very briefly we were like, what if we just like stole these and like left money or something? But then we were like, no, I could never do that. Like to like
No.
that, what an awful thing to do. Like
Yeah, but everyone thinks about it.
Yeah, it's true. But please return your stuff. Don't steal from
Maybe
things like that.
there's this thing called interlibrary loan. Do you know about it?
Oh, no.
Interlibrary
Where
loan.
your library
is,
can get it?
Yeah, I
Tell
don't know if it's a state thing. All the library heads right now in chat are really going crazy. But I'm not quite sure if it's a state only thing or if it's all across the United States of America. But anyway, you can call and you can say, hey, I want this book. And then a librarian will look on a computer, beep, 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 beep. They'll drink their little Keurig coffee and put it down, beep, 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 beep. They'll adjust their card again. Then they'll write something down on a piece of paper. And then you get it.
I'm just
Who
waiting to
knows?
see.
Maybe you get
I
it.
was like, I kept waiting through the pauses because I knew that you were just gonna keep doing that, do your little thing. Anyway, the library, my point, is the only place really that had a display of like Stephen King stuff, and it was super funny because the display was mainly different language editions of it, and it is so funny to see like ace, like eso, like in like different languages. Just the word it as a title is even funnier than like. So I was glad to see that. There was like one store that was very like fan servicey called Gerald Winters or something. Neptune's excited about.
That sounds like a
about this.
made-up name. Gerald Winters.
He was very nice. Oh, I assume it was him. But it had really cool, like, first editions or, like, the unedited initial copy that they send to, like, editors and stuff that doesn't have, like, the whatever touched manuscript. He had, like, a bunch of cool collector stuff like that, which if I was extremely wealthy would be neat to buy that kind of stuff one day, but
How much do those things go for?
There were things in there for like hundreds and like up to 1,000 or like whatever dollars. It was wild.
Did they publish his manuscript unedited?
It was like, in The Devil Wears Prada, how Anne Hathaway gets the copies of Harry Potter that aren't published for the twins. And they're like reading them on the train, and it's like that cover that's not a cover. It's just like blue, whatever. It's like those.
Oh, cool.
so I don't know how I don't like how people procure those or whatever the hell, but like those.
I don't think I'd. Never mind. If it was like an artist that I love, I'd want to see it all. So never mind. Take it back.
Yeah, that's what I think that you have to be really into Stephen King to go and do this stuff. Because also it was like, yeah, there is a tour there which we didn't do, but a lot of the things were just like looking up on the internet where to find them. The one we went to Mount Hope Cemetery, which is a lot of Pet Cemetery stuff was shot there. Which is a very lovely cemetery, by the way. And we just looked at pictures that other people, like pictures from the movie that were like, or other people sitting at the same spots. And we literally just walked around the entire cemetery, like looking at our phones and like looking up and looking for
That's cool.
specific spots. Yeah. So it was like fun to like kind of have a weird treasure hunt, thing like that. Walking around the cemetery, and it didn't feel disrespectful because there were people who clearly use the cemetery as like a walking path because it's really big, and they saw us and would like smile and wave, and I didn't feel like an asshole. Like,
no, it's also one of the only places that's for public use, and to walk around and it's like a park.
Yeah, it did. That one did feel like a park. It was nice.
And I bet, I bet a lot of people would be happy. If I knew somebody that was in that cemetery, I'd be happy that you were walking all over that place.
Yeah. Like, I'd feel like if I was buried there, I'd be like stoked and be like, oh, you're having fun. This is a place of revelry.
Are you going to be, you're going to be buried or you're going to be cremated?
I want to be buried, but like in a disposable sack at the base of a tree, because I want to become dirt again.
Yeah, it's just a 9 Inch Nails lyric. Bury me in a sack. Wanna become dirt again. With a bunch of somebody dropping pots and pans in a kitchen, right?
Yeah. Yes. Just like trudging through a kitchen where there's just a bunch of like cookie trays on the ground and stuff.
Yep. Where's Stephen King gonna be buried? Do you know? Does he talk about that?
Idea. I don't think so. I mean, I'm sure he has at some point, but I haven't like read it. We went to what used to be his house, which is now him and his wife Tabitha don't live there anymore, obviously, because it would be like annoying as hell.
Great name.
But we went there. Tabitha, yeah. Tabitha
10
King.
out of 10. If there's some trans girl that is trying to figure out a name right now, you pick it. Please.
Yeah, Tabitha's good. Like you could do King as your middle name, or just change the whole name to Tabitha King. It's so good.
Don't do it. I see. Okay, sure. But also, you should just pick a normal middle name.
I don't. Why? Explain.
We're trying to do different things in the world. That's all I can say.
Yeah, but King is not an abnormal middle name. Also, maybe a trans girl doesn't want King to be her middle name.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, probably. She probably doesn't. Well, look, just pick Amanda or something for the middle name. But regardless, we've got to move back on to the topic at hand, which is Stephen King, and we're talking about him in a very real way. Now, what is he when he writes? Is he gonna be eating? Is he gonna be drinking while he writes? And I don't mean hard alcohol. I'm talking about waters.
I'm sure. Actually, he really likes Pepsi. That's a big thing.
He's not bisexual, right?
He's him and Tabitha are freaky. That's so funny in his little on writing and stuff like that, or in various interviews when he talks about them and their relationship. He always makes sure to talk about how they God, I wish I could remember the fucking phrase that he uses for have sex. Yeah, there you go. You should read that. It's a quick read. It's very fun.
I do.
He uses some
I'm
specific
reading it.
phrase. Oh, nice. Yay. I forget what he says for having sex, though, but it's something. And he makes sure that you know that they are getting down often.
There are no bad dogs, according to the title of a popular training manual. But don't tell that to the parent of a child mauled by a pit bull or Rottweiler.
Talking about Cujo. It's a great book.
This is my other little book that's on top of it.
I couldn't possibly see that. Is that Dave Sedaris? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, he is sober and doesn't smoke cigarettes anymore. So he's probably just sitting there having a Coke and maybe a sandwich on his break. What's this one? I can't see.
This is Susan Sontag on photography.
Oh.
I haven't gotten into
course.
this one yet.
I have like about 3 books next to my bed that I have not. I started listening to audiobook again on this trip because I'm driving long distances again.
Nice.
And I forgot how much I like listening to an audiobook while driving.
Yeah. What are you listening to Stephen King books?
Yeah, we started listening to It because I think that was the day we were going to see some of the It things around town. And I like the guy who narrates it, so pop that on.
I want to narrate an audiobook one day, I think. Maybe. I don't know. I actually don't know if I want to do that. But I think I do.
So, I feel like you should. Maybe you can dip your toes in when there's a Castle Jackal writing compendium book that comes out, and you can audiobook that.
Where does it go? How do people hear it?
On Audible, I assume.
Who puts it there?
I don't know. I figure it's like something like the podcast thing where you kind of just sign up and pay and it gets put up.
Because I'll tell you right now, I don't want to. All I want to do is record it and be directed and have that fun process of recording the book. I don't want to deal with Audible or the this or the that or the posting. Got too much of that shit going on.
I don't think you're the one. The voice actors are just a hired person. Like, you're not. They're not putting Michael C. Hall in the booth to record Pet Sematary and then being like, "All right, Michael, here's the file. Take it home."
They're like, "Michael, here's the Audible." No, I get that, but I just feel like with these things, I always get roped into doing a little bit more than what I want to do.
Yeah, that's the nature of it all.
It's my
for
good
us,
nature.
Unfortunately.
It's my good nature in my life.
We're people pleasers and helpers.
I know. Enneagram 3-2 is me, and that number 2 is a people pleaser. So
I still have never done that, but I think we can all assume where I fall on the things, and I don't. That's fine.
No, I mean, Enneagram's different. I'm gonna get on my Enneagram soapbox.
I know. Yeah,
it's really good. I've got thoughts about what you could be. I don't remember what yours
I feel like
are.
I have taken a shitty one before, like when I was in your house.
There's one Enneagram Institute. It's free. It's a good one. That's a good one.
I'll do it when I have, a spare hour, because those ones always end up being like 500 questions, and you get 2 pages into 16 pages of questions, and you're like, damn it.
I think you might be a loyalist, maybe. I don't really know. I gotta think about it a little more. I don't remember the other Enneagrams, but I think you might be a loyalist, like a 6 or something.
Loyalist sounds bad.
No, none of them are bad. They just are.
No, it just sounds like a word like that someone used for like nationalism or something.
No, you're really on this pipe bomb thing right now. You're.
I just watched I watched Civil War, the Alex Garland Civil War yesterday. The Kirsten Dunst and I can't think of the actor's name, but that movie I thought was good. I don't know why people thought it was bad, but I think they were expecting something else. Anyway,
Is Stephen King's real name Stephen King?
I think so. I'm pretty sure.
Lucked out. I don't know. I mean, maybe,
What do you
but
mean?
it's just such a strong name. It sounds like we're checking it out, everybody, so just bear with us.
Yeah, his name's Stephen Edwin King. How fucking sick is that?
It's great.
Edwin.
Anybody that's last name is King, you can't really use Stephen, but you could use anything else. And to be honest, you can't really go wrong with names like this. You can't really go wrong. So if that is a last name as King, you can't really go wrong.
That was a cool thing walking around. I think he has some really good fictional names in his books and stuff. And going around Maine, it was cool to see like walking through the graveyard. There are names that are in the books, and there's like some fucking handyman store or something called like Tozier's whatever, which is a character in the book. Like, so he obviously like gets names from around, so they're real names and stuff. That is cool to see them.
What was that one name you said earlier that really sparked me up?
Tabitha?
No, it was like a G name or something.
I don't even remember now.
It's like German something.
I don't know what.
It was quite funny. I can't remember. Well, look. Do you think that we'll ever have? Would you rather have Stephen King on or Tim Curry on the Corn Corner podcast?
That's hard. I mean, I want to say Stephen King, but it feels disrespectful to Tim Curry, who may not be around much longer. So, if we had the opportunity to talk to him before that, that'd be cool. But Stephen King also, because I love him so much. But it's not the same at all, but I'm going to New York Comic Con, and I'm going to get Mike Flanagan, who directed Dr. Sleep and other Netflix shows that we like Hill House and stuff like that, Midnight Mass. But I'm going to get an autograph from him, and I'm going to have him sign a Stephen King book. So that's my getting close to Stephen King.
I love that. I think that you should start a podcast. I could be a guest on it, but it should be called something like Degrees of King. And you bring on people and that have been in Stephen King's circle, like edge people that have kind of been affiliated with him. And then you just talk about Stephen King.
I don't think we know. Well, there's already a podcast about Stephen King called the King Cast, and it's very good and fun. But
yeah, but you don't. I know you don't know them, but you could know them after you do a couple. But also, I think it'd be funny to do a podcast, or even the Corn Corner could have a thing called. What if we had a segment called 10 Minutes of Fame, and the whole concept is you just have to be famous, and you come on for 10 minutes, and we just talk. So
it's just like who does that benefit? It just benefits us. Like we just get like some famous person, and we're like, "Hey, you just want to come be on our podcast for 10 minutes?"
Nothing we do benefits. It benefits the Corn Corner lovers.
It benefits no one.
We don't even know
not
if it
us.
benefits them. They love this kind of thing. It's them.
I think that would be funnier if it wasn't actually famous people. It was just it was like us walking up to like, the local librarian or the dude stocking dairy at the grocery store and just be like, hey, you're on 10 Minutes of Fame with the Corn Corner, and you just like force them to talk to us for 10 minutes.
I guess I just see it in my head as Elijah Wood one day would be on 10 Minutes of Fame.
He was on the
and then
King
after
cast,
10 minutes,
so.
What?
I said he was
What?
on the King cast, so.
He would be on 10 Minutes of Fame. We would talk to him about a couple things. Then he would leave after 10 minutes.
I I say yes because I would love to meet these people for even 10 minutes. But you know,
Well, I don't know
still
Elijah
think
Wood, so we got to work on that one. But we know
neither do I.
we know enough famous people that we can get a couple episodes going. 10 minutes of fame section of the podcast. We're talking about the
we
big
can call in
light,
some friend favors. Yeah,
the big light. In the middle, we have 10 minutes of fame section. Go back to the big light.
we got to get like Brian Jordan Alvarez, John Early, people like that.
Randy.
Yeah. Randy. Randy's number one. Got to do a whole episode.
I just think about fucking guy.
I just like every time that he's in something that I'm watching, and I like will always send a video and be like, Randy.
There he is. We get Pinko on. Pinko and Randy could do an episode together potentially. Pinko's got a fan base.
That'd be great.
What else? He likes Randy. I don't know. People, if you have fame, if you are someone that is famous, I'm talking about you gotta have some degree of fame. And you can be on 10 minutes of fame. Let us know. 10-minute spotlight, 10 minutes of fame. It'd be good.
Hit the email that we don't pay attention to.
I pay attention to it. There's
Pod.
3 unread emails in there right now for me.
Nice.
3
Good job.
people have
I'm
asked to make. 3 people have asked to make clips, and I gotta respond to them. But it's.
There's so much.
Shit. It's just stuff to do. Anyway, there's an email though in there that you do have to read. So.
Uh-oh.
About the AdSense account. Just check, make sure everything is still working in there. Well, people, it's 51 minutes in this podcast, and we had fun, I think I'd like to say. We had a great time.
Yeah. I
don't have anything else to say.
I'm like, I don't either. If you're a Stephen King fan and you have the means to go do a little trip to Maine and bebop around, you should do it because it's fun.
Right.
And we are the only people at like any of the sightseeing things that we went to besides his house on the weekend. So like you'll be alone. You don't have to worry about waiting in line to get the pictures at the things because other people are not doing this shit.
That's right. But I'll tell you, when you do it, you're going to have a great time. So, okay, again, I want to stress that no matter if you're shucked
or if you're creamed.
It's unfortunate that you had to say that part, but it doesn't matter.
Because, it doesn't matter what kind of corn I am.
Just say kind corn. Oh, we're supposed to say it together. Just be kind corn. That's right. People love this kind of thing, and when we got rid of it, people didn't like it. And we said, it stay fresh? And people hated that.
We were saying stay fresh and keep kind and corn on, and people didn't know.
Keep kind and corn on.
People weren't into it. Can't
well,
blame
it
them.
also made me sad.
What?
Because it's good. It's really good. You did a good job with it.
What, the doesn't matter what kind of corn you are thing?
Yeah, it's good.
Oh, okay. Well, I think if people want to tell us that we did a good job with that, then they should go to patreon.com/thecorncorner and tell us with their monetary dollars, and whatever amount that they want. All levels get the same thing. You just decide what you want to give.
Put your Visa, your MasterCard, or your Checking Express, or whatever you want in there, and then give it to us. Well, listen, thank you so much for being a part of the community of the Corn Corner. And as Stephen King would say,
I don't know. Sometimes that is better.
Nope, that is not right. But you can read The Shining, or just watch the movie, honestly, and then get a quote from that, and then go ahead and live in that. People, make sure it's positive.
Read it. Don't watch it.
That's all right. You just watch. All right, everybody.
All right. Close this. What's happening right now?